The most powerful U word in my vocabulary is the word until. Right? That until is very powerful because you have reached that by your own trial and error. As a manager, I always wanted to try lots of different things. I just didn't have a lot of time to try all the different things because all the other things were taking up time and energy in my life. Your until may not be somebody else's until. And you are going to have to reach out and see, is this really an until moment for them? The most powerful U word in my vocabulary is something that I use for myself. All right. So, and it's the word until. So, until is to me, I'm putting guardrails around what it is that I am striving for, what it is that is my project, how much time I'm going to give to this particular effort. So, in your managerial day, for example, owner day, for example, you have an employee and you're already doing this until because during the probationary period, the trial and error period, you already have an until. So they have until 90 days to prove that whatever. So a lot of times our 90 days is just baked in because that's part of our whole office manual thing. What if it wasn't 90 days? What if you had your own until? And most of you do. Most managers, anytime you brought on somebody and you've onboarded somebody, you already had an until. A lot of times it's until they annoy me, until they say this certain thing three times, until I have to tell them this three times, right? That until is very powerful because you have reached that by your own trial and error. So don't ignore the internal untils that you have. If you know that someone is going to drive you absolutely nuts if they may have this particular behavior, you need to pay attention to that. Conversely, if you're a manager and you're a doctor and you know something is going to annoy him or her, that's their until. They're actually trusting you to know that and to realize that if this person goes there, that's the drawing. That's it. That's the line in the sand they've drawn, and we need to respect that. So, the other piece of until is anytime that you want to try something different. Now, as a manager, I've heard from ton of you actually this year, or I'm sorry, 24. So we're going to say 24, that you want to do something new for next year. You would like to maybe do some more mentorship. You'd like to start some more projects in your office. You'd like to try a new onboarding system. You'd like to try a new piece of software. You'd like to try some AI. Lots and lots of things there, right? So as a manager, I always wanted to try lots of different things. I just didn't have a lot of time to try all the different things because all the other things were taking up time and energy in my life. So when you are choosing a new project, okay, it's very important for you to maintain your until. So we're going to try this new software, and then of course be reasonable about it. You're not going to master any new software in 3 months. You've got to give yourselves a good period of time, and you've got to make sure that you set yourself up for success. But there has to be an end point where if something is not working, you have to do something to eliminate that point of stress from your life and everybody's life. If something isn't working for the whole team, you've reached that until. You need to take steps to see that that doesn't, demoralize the people who are working and feel like they're not getting any progress, right? I remember working with one office and the doctor had switched to a new sensor, so for their images, and a new software program for their images. And it, for some reason, one of the assistants was just could not master it. And it was also the associate that the assistant was working with. They just had a hard time. The software, the assistant wasn't really good with the software, even as much training as she tried, and the associate just was not used to the quality of the radiographs that were coming out. So there's a lot of layers to that particular story. But what we learned from that particular office is that that constant butting of the heads against the wall, it feels like, because if you're telling somebody that something's not working and it doesn't get fixed, then you're basically doing that, right? Like you're just banging your head against the wall. So that was enough for the associate to feel like her objections to this software weren't being listened to. And basically, she was being told, suck it up, master it, get it right. So, were they going to switch completely different software in order to make this work? I don't know. We didn't get to that point. What had ended up happening was we had to have a real talk with the owner dentist because The fact is, this was so demoralizing for this particular employee, the associate, that it was trickling down to the assistant and it was actually affecting everybody around them. And to be clear, it's not like she was going back and complaining and doing all of the whispering and all that. You could just tell that she was becoming more and more unhappy in the position that she was in. And so that is something that you have to learn as a manager. So your until may not be somebody else's until, and you are going to have to reach out and see, is this really an until moment for them, or is this something that I can help them with? Would you like to hear more? Follow the link for the full episode.